Hey, Will King here, and today on the Build Show, I want to talk about boat docks, what goes into planning for them, and what you need to have in the ground and ran to the location for the future boat dock before the house is finished, before landscaping's done. Let's take a look at it. All right, so we'll talk about boat docks. There has to be some planning that goes into these things to make sure that the client's set up for success. You know, I feel like a lot of the things that we do as a builder is also planning for the future so that your client isn't left with a mess down the road. If it's gonna be a remodel, or if they're gonna add a pool later, or they're adding a hot tub later, or in this case, they're adding a boat dock later. As a builder, you have to provide them what they need for the future on those things, or someday they're going to be very disappointed that they don't have power service, water, gas, all those things stubbed out and ready to go. So this particular job that I'm standing on today, there's an existing dock that's here that's actually going to be tore down in a few months. But it's a very delayed process here in our area to get a boat dock permitted and get it constructed. We can build a house faster than we can build a boat dock, unfortunately, just because of the extended permit time that we have to face. So here, what we did, before we put all this landscaping in, you know, even when we were wiring the house originally, we started talking with electricians, with our plumbers, with our AV guys about what we needed ran to the dock for the future. So before the landscaping came in, we went ahead and trenched several conduits that I have stubbed out here to the house, to here. They're capped off and they're ready. We actually went ahead and ran a 100 amp sub panel to the end of the house that's going to feed all the services down here to the boat dock. You know, and you don't really know how much power the boat dock's going to need until it's constructed or you have the final set of plans. But those boat lift motors can require quite a few amps to pull those. And you don't know if they're going to add heaters, if they're going to have battery chargers, or even a small InstaHot water heater. So you want to make sure you provide ample power service to it. From an AV standpoint, you got to think about things like low voltage lighting that may be controlled from their house system, from their landscaping system. You got to think about Wi-Fi, because most people want to have a really good internet connection at their dock for things like security cameras, audio, and just cruising their phone while they're out hanging out at the lake. So having a nice Ethernet hard line from the house down to the boat dock is important. And I would encourage you to run multiples of those in that conduit when you pull them, because you just don't really know how many you're going to need. Some of that can depend on how many cameras they're going to have and that kind of thing. Water's a big one. You know, I think having fresh water to your dock is going to be very important. In this case, we actually have the water line ran from the house down to here and it's capped off, but we're going to be installing an actual aqua ground hydrant in this sidewalk behind the boat dock when it's built right here in front of me. That way they never have to worry about winterizing the water. It'll always be deep enough in the ground to where it'll be frost proof, but it's super convenient to wash off boats, life jackets, and that kind of thing. Just from the sidewalk behind the boat dock. So we also had to plan for irrigation. It's very common here in our area to be pumping river water out for the irrigation system at your house. So that requires a pump line and power to not only energize that pump that's pulling the water out, but have a nice 2-inch PVC line coming back out of the water and back to the irrigation system. So you definitely want to make sure you have all of those things in too before you get too far in your landscaping. And then also I would encourage you to run maybe an extra 1.5 or 2-inch pipe, maybe 2 of them, because there's things that you don't know that you might need, whether it's additional irrigation, more power, more AV, or maybe a conduit gets compromised someday. You have a backup to run utilities to that boat dock. All right, so I hope you learned a few things about planning for boat docks in today's quick video. If you're not already following me on Instagram, please go do so. It's at Will King Builds. And just remember, iron sharpens iron, so keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you right here on The Build Show.